Hello there guys, and welcome back to another episode of Rebuilding Histon. And coming up in today's video, we have got an away match against Solihull Moors to start Season 6, our second season in the Vanarama National League North. But before we get into the first game of this season, let's take you through what's been happening in the transfer market since you were last with us during the off-season. As you can see, quite a few additions have come in, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. Let's just take you through the three main players that were released at the end of last season. That was Joe Osler. Didn't really feature too much in our first team plans after signing him last season. As you can see, only 8 appearances so far, and the fact that Goddard and Taylor McKenzie were playing a lot more at that right back position compared to Oster. I thought Oster would be that man to come into the team once Goddard was struggling with either form or injury or whatever. But unfortunately, he didn't really make the most of his opportunity, and Taylor McKenzie was a lot better at that position at that time. So I thought it would be best to cut our losses, release him at the end of the season. Another player that's very similar sort of thing, Luke Doby. He did make a couple of appearances, a few more appearances than what Oster did. But as you can see there, 12 appearances, 1 goal actually, which is a bonus, I guess. But an average rating of 6.72, not too bad. But again, I just this time though, I didn't really see him fitting into our first team plans because we had so many other midfielders that had come in. The fact that we signed Mazia Kuyar in about a third of the way through into last season meant that there were going to be limited opportunities for Doby. And considering his star rating, I thought it would be a good opportunity as well for him to be released and find somewhere else to get first team football. Let's hope he does get another club. I think he's wanted. Oh no, apparently not. That's unfortunate. But yep, I thought it would be good to just improve the squad a little bit, cut one of these players off our wage bill. He was on quite a bit of money as well as a backup player, so that was a bit of a dud deal, I think, if I think about it from last season. But yeah, I'm still happy though that we were able to get 12 appearances out. And we did alright in those 12 appearances, but again, we just didn't have the space for him. And then last but not least, Harry Osborne. He had a fantastic short stint with us in 4 seasons with us, I think he was. Oh no, sorry, 2.5 seasons, I think, because we signed him about halfway through the 2018-19 season. Got a good average rating of 6.99. Made 37 appearances in season 4. When we got promoted into the Vanarama North, making 37 appearances, 3 assists, 3 player of the matches, and an average of a 7.24. Made only 14 appearances off the bench last season. I think they were all off the bench, I'm not 100% sure. But did get a decent average rating of 6.74. But because of the fact that we'd signed a couple of defenders in Terrell Thomas halfway through last season, and also we've signed a couple of we've also signed a defender in this transfer window as well. I think I've signed a defender. I should have looked this up before I started recording. But yeah, I thought it would be also again to cut our losses because again his star rating was only at 2 stars compared to some of the players that we already have on the books. So yeah, I thought it would be a good time for him to get released, and I'm hoping he gets a contract. As you can see, he's wanted by Lowestoft. Let's see if he can get a contract right there. So let's get into the transfers that have come in. To start off with, we've got 2 Taylors that we came in. So first one was Michael Taylor comes in from Boreham Wood. We paid about £1,000 for him. As you can see, he's got 3-star rating, 2.5-star current ability, 3-star potential ability. Good crossing as well, particularly on his stats. Decent marking, very good tackling as well. So it's going to be a really good spot for him at that right back position, possibly to challenge Steve Goddard in that right back position. As you can see, he only made 18 appearances for Boreham Wood last season, but made 36 appearances for Kidderminster, scoring 6 goals and 5 assists with 3 player of the matches. So he has got that potential, and he's only 23 years old. So we have gotten younger at that position after the release of Joe Oster and Harry Osborne. So yeah, I'm hoping he's going to be a good signing. He's actually been signed for a couple of seasons as well. So I'm hoping that he continues his development and he will be able to solidify himself at that right back position, maybe taking it off Steve Goddard. Next up was actually a really good coup by us, and that is Lyle Taylor. Now, most AFC Wimbledon fans will know exactly who this player is. Formerly used to, on his career history, as you can see, played for AFC Wimbledon back in 2015-16, scored 20 goals before Wimbledon's promotion into League One, but barely featured. Didn't really score that many goals in the other 4 seasons that he was with the club. And as you can see, his appearances started to drop off after 23 appearances in 2017-18, only 14 in 2018-19, and only 6 last season before he was released. Oh no, sorry. Actually, no, he was released 2 seasons ago, and it was only picked up by us at the back end of last season in order to start this season. So he's been out of the football for a year, but I'm hoping that he hasn't lost any rust. As you can see by his stats, he is a 3.5-star player. Doesn't look like he's going to improve anymore. He is 31 years old, but finishing at 12, first touch at 10, off the balls at 12, composure 12, concentration at 10, anticipation at 10. Oh, sorry, not 10, 12. And yeah, overall his stats for the poacher role is going to be absolutely fantastic. As you can see, he's still actually he's worth £15,000. So I think we've put a massive coup by signing him here. As you can see, he's one of 2 strikers that are probably our best striker options at the moment. As you can see, there's another player on there which we'll talk about in a minute that is also on that list. We then signed Jake Williams for Wealdstone. He comes in for a £2,500 free at left back, primarily to replace William Gregory, as I didn't renew his loan deal. I did renew the loan deal of Shane Lovell though for centre back, so he will be at that centre back position for us. But I thought we needed to get someone a little bit more permanent on our books. As you can see, 3-star ability, 4-star, possible 4-star potential ability. We'll have to wait and see on that front. Yes, he's not as good as William Gregory in terms of his overall stats, but he's better. He's a star better than Kevin Carrillo and can improve slightly in the future. So I'm hoping that he can, again, like other right back Taylor, he can solidify the left back position and become a future force for us, maybe if we do get promoted this season. The fact that he can definitely improve, and the fact he's only 20 years old, is really, really fantastic. The only thing is that he is on a non-contract, so we have to watch out for him in case someone decides to come for him later on if he's doing well. So we might have to give him an actual contract a bit later on. Up next was George Thomas, the other striker that I mentioned on there. Now, if we have a quick look at his career history, as you can see, played a little bit for Coventry City, his I think it was his hometown team, but he came through the Coventry Academy, made a couple of sporadic appearances for them before being released, and Salisbury actually signed him in 2019-20 when they were in the National League North. Scored 8 goals in 26 appearances, did an average rating of 6.8, then had a better season last year with a 12 goals, 5 assists and 2 Player of the Match awards in 38 appearances in the division below, but I don't think Salisbury actually got promoted in that particular case. So it's a bit of a risk, I think, considering the fact that he wasn't able to hit the ground running in the National Vanarama South when he was there with Salisbury. But I'm hoping that he can provide the goals necessary for us on our end as we begin our quest for a potential promotion challenge. Up next, we've signed Dylan Cogill. I think he's the centre back. Yes, I remember. That's the reason why I let Harry Osborne go. He's also on a non-contract like Jake Williams. And as you can see, he's got a 3-star rating and a 3.5-star potential, but it's some really good stats for the centre back, defensive centre back role. If we quickly look at centre back, there's a couple of things that are underneath double digits, but as you can see, headings at 12, marking at 11, tackling at 12, positioning at 11. A lot of the key technical stats and physical stats are above that in the double digits bracket, including also positioning on the mental side. Yes, his aggression is down at 7, but at least it means it probably will mean that he doesn't pick up any yellow cards. But let's hope that things like concentration and bravery don't hinder his performances too much. But he looks like a pretty good signing. Didn't make a single first team appearance for Huddersfield Town, which is a shame. So this will be his debut in professional football. Let's see how well he does for that. And then last we signed Luca Coville, who is primarily a left winger. The ideal possible replacement to Justin May if Justin May decides to get poached by someone else. But he's got 3-star ability, 3.5-star potential ability. A couple of his stats maybe could be a little bit better in terms of his crossing and dribbling, but passing's at 10, which is really good, and his pace is at 11, and acceleration at 12. So he could be a very speedy winger on that left-hand side, especially at this sort of level. You might need that to beat a couple of players and get a good cross into the box. Also, work rate is at 12, which is really important. If we have a quick look at his coach summary, he's on the same sort of star level as Justin May apparently, but we'll have to wait and see if he can provide that. He can play in a couple of other positions, but his star rating isn't that great at those other positions. So I'm primarily going to use him as a left winger, and again, like the previous player, like Cogill and also Williams, they are going to be. He's on a non-contract. So we have to keep an eye on him if he does get offers from teams and if he's doing well. Yeah, it was Jake Williams. That's the guy that's on a non-contract. The other 3 players that I brought in are all on professional deals. So if we have a quick look, George Thomas is on quite a bit of money on $550 a week, as is Lyle Taylor on £600 a week. So I am taking a risk with those 2 strikers, but I think we need to be a bit more risky if we want to try and get this promotion this time around. And also Michael Taylor's on £400 a week, although he's on under contract for 2 years. So yeah, at least money won't go any higher in the next couple of seasons. But without further ado, let's get into the first game of the season. We're away against Solihull Moors, who I think, if we'll have a quick look at them in a minute as we now get in towards the match preview. Right, sorry I had to cut away there. I had a little cough and a sneeze, and I didn't really want to leave that in the recording. We've had a quick look at Solihull Moors' record the last couple of seasons. As you can see, they were relegated in 2017-18, and they've been sliding down towards the bottom end of the table, which has not been too good for them. So we're going to have to ensure that we do our due diligence, because they may come out fighting it in this first game of the season. We are actually third favourites to win the league this year, behind, if we actually get back to the team here. Oops, I've pressed the button. If we go to the tactics page, I think I've messed up a little bit on the that side. But yeah, let's go to the tactics page for now. And I was going to say, we are third favourites behind Boston United and newly promoted Hereford. So we're going to end up playing the Bulls this season after a really good rivalry with them in the division below. So I'm hoping we can come out on top on that. But anyways, here's the team that we're going to go for today. Ryan Schofield is in goal with a back four of Taylor, Lovell, Thomas and Jake Williams. So the two new players that are going to be on the wing, on the full-back positions, are going to be making their debuts today. Lovell is making his re-debut, obviously, after coming back on loan again, alongside Thomas. And then we've got Kuyan Davidson in midfield. That's very similar to what we had last season. Joel and May are on the wings, and up front we've got George Thomas and Alex Simmons. Now, unfortunately, I didn't really want to risk Lyle Taylor because he's actually come back from a recent injury, so his conditioning isn't that great at an 86%. So we're going to play Simmons alongside Thomas and also have Difford on the bench in case things aren't going too well for us. But anyways, let's get into the first game of the season. Also, the fact that we have to play Difford is the fact that Mbunga is out injured with a twisted ankle, and he's out for 5 to 9 days for the opening couple of games of the season. So Difford's going to possibly get a couple of substitute appearances here. He's one of those players that I might actually release if Mbunga and also Taylor stay fit, but we'll have to wait and see on that front. Anyways, I've been enough rambling. Let's get into the first game of the season. Yes, there's a lot of players struggling with match sharpness, but we've got to play them in order for them to get that match sharpness together. I mean, I'm a little bit concerned about those fullbacks, but we'll have to wait and see on that front, and also George Thomas. But anyways, we apparently are favourites for this game, but let's have a let's not take anything into account for that. It's the first game of the season. Anything can definitely happen. Now, as we do the opposition instructions. Right, I'm ready. Let's get into the team talk right now. The first team talk of the season, starting off away from home like we did last season, but let's see if we can come out the blocks with a win like we did last season when we were the newly promoted side. Now we are more one of the contenders for promotion into the National League. Let's not get carried away too much, and let's see if we can do a professional job here today against a team that's been really beyond the decline, as I mentioned before. As Solihull Moors get the game underway from left to right, we're kicking off. We're attacking from right to left, but Solihull Moors are in possession right now. Histon on the ball up towards Port Tyson, I think that's how you pronounce it, but Lovell's managed to clear it away, and here's Thomas on this right hand side taking his first touch. Competitive touch for Histon, and that's the end of the opening highlights. Okay, we've got a throw in on this left hand side into May, and Koblenz has managed to win it back though. Kuyan might get to it, unfortunately not, but here's Rose. Thomas now wins it back and up towards, ball was played up towards Simmons, but it's cut out very well by the Solihull Moors defence. Hines clears it away up towards Lowry on the left hand side, just inside the Solihull Moors half. Brown now plays it up towards Rose, who might have a chance to take a shot, and it's hit the crossbar, and that was a really good opportunity for Solihull Moors to open the scoring there. Clear cut chance number 1 in their first shot of the game, so that's a warning already for us in this very early stages of the season, as Thomas manages to win the ball off a throw. And here's Thomas now running at the other Thomas, running at the defence, taking a shot, and I don't know what he was doing there, completely wasting the opportunity there, and that was a really, really poor effort from his behalf. Okay, we've got a free kick on the edge of the box. Thomas has headed it. It comes off the crossbar, I think, and Thomas then hits the post from that resulting rebound, and unfortunately we weren't able to put the ball in the back of the net. That should have probably gone down as a clear-cut chance, considering how close we were to opening the scoring right there. As we come up towards half-time now, it is still 0-0 at the moment. It's going well so far, I think, I guess. I mean, our unbeaten record on the opening day of the season is going to continue as it stands, but I kind of want to win this game, considering where Solihull Moors were in the table last year, as I mentioned before. But the strikers aren't doing too well at the moment, so we may have to bring on a James Difford a bit later on, either earlier on in the second half, depending on what happens in the game. But I'm going to keep faith in the rest of the team. The majority of the other players have done pretty well. Sam Joel on the 6.5 is a little bit disappointing, but defence has done very well, and the central midfielders have done very well. And Justin May apparently on a 6.7 has done okay, but it's really the right wing and the two strikers that haven't performed so far at the moment. As we now begin the second half, we really need to see if we can inject a little bit of inspiration in those two strikers to see if we can get a goal, possibly hopefully for George Thomas on his debut. Let's have a wait and see as the first highlight ends. Oh no, Kuyar's now picked up an injury. It looks like it's a thigh strain, which is not good. I'm actually going to bring him off because I don't really want that injury to get any worse. Adrian Morford is going to come on for the remaining 39 minutes of the match. I nearly couldn't do maths there, but we're going to take him off just to make sure that we don't damage it any further. It's probably going to be one of those serious injuries though, which is typical FM, getting an injury on the first game of the season. Anyways, we still haven't had any highlights there, although having said that, we've now got one. Morford out towards Davidson, who might put the ball in. Doesn't do so. Taylor into Joel, to Davidson, back to Thomas, who takes a shot. It's taken a deflection. That is really, really unfortunate on Solihull Moors, and especially Koblenz, the man that deflected the ball into the back of his own net. And we are 1-0 up. Unfortunately, Thomas didn't score it outright, but at least he took the initial shot to give him a little bit of momentum, but it's not going to go down as a goal for him. Okay, here is the highlight. Davidson playing it out to Thomas, who then takes a shot. It unfortunately comes off the Koblenz, and it just goes past the keeper. Wrong foots the keeper right there, and we're 1-0 up. Based off the chances, though, I think we don't really deserve it. But yeah, we needed a little bit of luck, I think, in this game, because we weren't really penetrating the opposition here. We're going to make one substitution here. Thomas is going to keep on, but I'm going to take off Alex Simmons and bring on James Difford. I'm also tempted to bring on Steve Goddard, because Michael Taylor's conditioning is only at 72%, despite the fact he's on a 7.3. I don't really want his tired legs to affect the overall outcome of this result. But we'll keep an eye on that for now, and then we'll make that change when we head towards the last few minutes of the match. Right, about 13 minutes remaining. We are going to make that change at fullback. Goddard is going to come on for Taylor, and let's hope we can seal it off for the rest of the game, as there's a lot of action happening at the top of the table. As you can see, Darlington currently leading the way with Clitheroe second. Boston, as you expect, are in third, and then Gainsborough in fourth, and ourselves in fifth right now. Although we've just dropped down to sixth thanks to Southport scoring a second goal. Okay, we've got a highlight of a free kick just inside our own half, but Davidson plays it up, but gives it away, unfortunately, to Rose, who plays it out towards Mason. I think probably one of the substitutes for Solihull Moors. Plays it in, but Schofield is right there to claim it just before the Solihull Moors strikers could get into the box there. And Schofield will probably clear it away up towards May. It's cleared out by Hines. Here's Davidson on the ball, out to May. Plays it back probably to Thomas. Please don't give it away there. And Thomas plays up towards Difford, who unfortunately loses out to the Solihull Moors centre-back. And Thomas has managed to win it after Rose made a poor touch. And here's May on this left-hand side, and venturing into the Solihull Moors half again. Davidson plays the ball towards Thomas. Might take a shot here, and he has done. It is 2-0. That's probably the end of the game. That is a legitimate goal this time for Thomas, scoring on his debut. Really nice that we managed to seal the game off with just a couple of minutes remaining. Davidson with a really nice ball over the top. One of the Solihull Moors centre-backs playing him onside, and Thomas just finishes it past the goalkeeper. No need for a deflection this time, and he now has an official goal to his name at Histon. So anyways, we're coming into the last couple of minutes of stoppage time here. Joel out to Davidson, back to Goddard, into Difford, just inside the Solihull Moors, the penalty box. Ball in towards Thomas. Has headed it in, and it is 3-0. Thomas now scoring 2 goals there after a bit of a poor start after his initial shot at the start of the first half. He's now come on and been on fire there. Nice little ball in again, I think from Davidson, and Thomas with the header, and it is now 3-0. He's had a hand in all 3 goals if you can count the deflection as an assist, but that's going to be the end of the game probably. A 3-0 victory. We didn't really deserve that first goal, but those 2 other goals were really, really well taken. I think probably the fact that Solihull Moors are trying to chase the game and be a little bit more offensive. But we have managed to wrap up with a fantastic 3-0 victory. Really, really important result to start the season. And really good to get Thomas firing straight away with those 2 goals. And let's see if he can get a really good partnership with Lyle Taylor when Taylor does come back to full fitness for the next match, which I don't think is too far away in terms of time. As you can see, it's a home match against FC United. We're actually bought quite a few players based off the transfer dealings and on the transfer page, and also they're actually 4 favourites or something like that to get promoted. So they're going to be a really interesting tie to play. We're not going to play them on screen though. We are going to do a different match as we have a quick look at the schedule. As you can see right there, we've got quite a few games to go. I might actually go and do this Gainsborough game at home, although this game may end up being moved because of what's it called, FA Cup matches. But we'll have to wait and see on that. I might have to have a quick look at the FA Cup. But I'm gonna try and do this Gainsborough game because I haven't played Gainsborough yet. It allows us to get 4 games under our belts and then give us a home game just really early on into the season. But without further ado, that is the end of the first episode of the series of season 6. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all for the next part, which will be the home match against Gainsborough or an FA Cup match, depending on what happens on the reschedules. But until then, guys, I will see you later.